ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, TheScoreEsports.com, G2A, NVIDIA, and ESEA.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League for North America. My name is Blue. Joining me here this evening is a new face to the ESEA casting team. It's Bach, and we're about to jump into the second map here with NRG taking on Luminosity Gaming. Unfortunately, the first map over on Inferno did not go very well at all, so there's definitely doubts as to how their performance is going to be on the second map, especially considering it's Mirage. So, Bach, let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the maps in the current pool, Mirage kind of plays the closest way to Inferno. If you really need rounds on your T side, you're going to have to be very coordinated. And NRG did not feel very coordinated. On the flip side, Luminosity is one of the best teams in the world. And we were talking about it at the break. We, as North American teams have played through Counter-Strike, we've never really had a top 5 team in NA at all. It's never happened. The closest thing we ever had was probably Cloud9 when they were in like the top 10. They were sort of sitting around 7-8. CLG has kind of gotten close to that edge, but we've never had a team play on North American soil that was in the top 5. And I would put LG currently is probably top 3. So the first rate spanking that NRG just got on that map, it's kind of to be expected. I'm actually not surprised. I thought NRG would at least put a few more rounds on the board, but I think things are going to kind of repeat themselves here. Mirage and Inferno are very similar in the way they play when it comes to getting rounds on your T side. So if Luminosity picks up the knife round, we could easily see another stomping.
Problem, though, is that Luminosity technically is not a North American team.
Yes, this is true. I'm saying playing in North America. They're not North American at all. They play here.
That's like Halloween. That's like Halloween candy rules. That's like they're in my half of the table, so this is now my candy. It's using that logic right there.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't think the Brazilian fans are going to be too happy that you stole your their candy essentially.
I don't consider them a North American team at all, and I never will. Yeah. I think that they are a Brazilian team. They'll always be one. Doesn't matter where they play. Really, I mean, competing in North American leagues, we've never had a team that's played at this level. And as a result, I expect Luminosity to just basically walk through this season. We were talking about it at the break. Maybe 2 losses on the season. Maybe. I think that one loss to Winter Fox is going to be the only one. And obviously, there was some performance issues that resulted in that. So even that loss is kind of like, that's the mulligan. It's like, we'll give it to them, but we're going to count this as an undefeated season. Kind of like last season with Games Academy. They lost 1 game because they forfeited. They just decided not to show up.
All right, well, we are live now, guys. And of course, NRG is going to be able to start off on the CT side, but Luminosity, jumping on the T side, not necessarily going to be a disadvantage as of yet. We can see Peter trying to get aggressive as he moves inside the palace, and he just barely escapes with his own life. Down to 2 HP now, is going to hide himself underneath the balcony, or apologies, hiding himself underneath the platform. Very quickly rolls back up, though, and is still able to find a kill at 2 HP before being traded out. However, Legia and Justin both come in with 2 more pickups, and they've just found the location of Cold, so Legia going to get some good damage onto him as well. Luminosity not off to the best start. We're going to take things slow now and see if they can work this 2v4. Odds, unfortunately, not going to be the best in their favor, but NRG are still playing this pretty passively right now, so they may be able to escape with a plan at the very least.
The big player is going to be Legia coming in from from mid, for that matter. If he gets that headshot on Cold, it's going to make things that much harder. I was saying that maybe FNX could go for a cat side plant in the front of triple stack, but he kind of retreated with the bomb. Looked like he might want to backpedal and head towards the B site. It just doesn't come together, so NRG, they pick up a round, and they've got to be ecstatic right now. The last pistol round was an absolute slaughter. I mean, 5 kills came in within like the first 12 seconds of the push from NRG, so the fact that they actually made it out with that many bodies, they've got to be feeling pretty good, and they can maybe start building some momentum and some confidence into a couple of rounds in their favor.
And now, Luminosity just going to roll into this site. Works out great initially, but unfortunately Taco is putting all of his attention underneath of the platform there. So he's going to get taken down pretty quickly by Justin. Peter finding a second pickup here too. And now Luminosity are kind of stalled. They're not really able to get themselves further onto the site. Peter, though, kind of walks into his own death again there, as he'll be taken down by Cold. We saw Justin picking up another frag, but Fallen also responding with one of his own there, as the guys on the CT side getting a little bit aggressive for their own good. So it's still even, down to a 2v2, but NRG definitely have the advantage here. They have bomb control, they have better guns, and Luminosity have sort of given up on this initial push at the very least. They're going to fall back, see if they can maybe work something after a little bit of delay here, but ultimately the guys on NRG should more than likely have control of this. But just as I say that, Silent gets stinked down super low, and I think they spotted Gob B going underneath Plat, and that he should now be on top of it as well. So he's not necessarily going to be as hidden as he believes he is either.
Oh, this nade! Oh, he double-clicked the nade, so it didn't go as far as it probably needed to. If Silent had been sitting where he was, that would have been an absolute slaughter of a nade right into his face. I mean, 4 HP, there's no way he's going to walk away from that one. He's going to need a little bit of surgery to survive. It is still in a 2v2 right now. The T side just trying to make their way up from ramp, and Silent is just not able to find the headshot on the Fallen, and down he goes. So now it's come down to just a 1v1, but Gabi does survive. A lot of economic damage dealt by Luminosity, but they did force up there, so kind of to be expected. It was an SMG against Tech9 buy, and that's exactly what we had mentioned in the first map. When Luminosity picked up the pistol, they went straight to AKs knowing that NRG was going to be force buying, because if you go with that SMG buy, it's just not going to really bode well when you face off against the armor pistol. And that's exactly what happened to NRG here. Cost them a lot of money, and you can see the repercussions in this round. A FAMAS, a Tech9, a P250, they're kind of all over the place. And LG has gone into another force buy knowing exactly what just happened.
LG lining up for the push now, going to go pretty quickly into the B-bomb site, but with all of the losses that NRG suffered last time, this one has to be much more flawless if they want to have a good amount of money heading into that first gun round. Silent picking up a first kill, but he's traded up by Taco. We saw Gob beat further back in the site picking up a kill, but Taco's going to wreck him as well, just walking by with the Tech-9, picking up 2 kills back-to-back. It's in a 3v3 situation, and Legia and Peter, they don't have rifles in hand right now. They've given them over to the hands of the guys in Luminosity, and Cold's picked one of them up. So it's going to be a little bit tough to make this retake plausible. Fallen picking up one more blow on a Justin as he tries to push out from the window over there, and we do see Peter finding one, but Cold as well, along with Taco, close it out for Luminosity, and they're going to find their first round a little bit early here before we even get to the first gun round to bring the scoreline up to 2-1.
I think they said that taco in Brazilian Portuguese means like baseball bat, right? I mean, that's basically what he did right there, is he ran in with a baseball bat and just clubbed him across the face. Those Tech-9 shots were spot on. The first kill he gets as he wraps around towards bench, does a jiggle peek on the man who is playing window side in the site, and then the last player who was trying to come through the door just didn't stand a chance. And you're right, it came down to those players with pistols. Had that gone a different way, had the rifles been the ones left standing, maybe it would have been a possible retake. But the force buy from Luminosity, we kind of predicted it. They knew that the money on NRG was weak, so they go into that force buy knowing that even if they lose the round, anytime they can take cash away from their opponent is going to make things that much easier for them moving forward. And speaking of cash, Fur is going to put a little bit extra in his pocket with that SMG in mid, the MAC-10, putting $600 into his bank account. But that's going to be it for the round, as he has been taken off the board. And it's brought us down to a 4v4 with a really strange setup here on the CT side. Peter has an AWP, Legia has an M4, and the other two are on armor pistol.
Silent's going to be a bit of an awkward position without a smoke to support him here, but Taco not necessarily expecting it. He does check the couch first, but Taco still with a good response, able to take down Silent, and now falls to Justin to hold off here on this B-bomb site. Picking up a first blow, starting to wrap around it now. Did not spot the players moving out and around him now, but he still finds a second pickup before being taken down by Taco, just barely in the nick of time. And now Legia, lining up the final 2 kills perfectly, is going to shut it down. NRG going to trade blows a little bit here with Luminosity, but they still keep their lead going, and now they reset the T's economy as well.
Do we see another force buy? Probably at this point it's going to stop. Luminosity's going to go, okay,
they'll just upgrade pistols here.
Let's back off. I mean, they do have enough money on a few players where they could go with armor pistol. Like Cold had like 3K, almost 4K. I think he had like 3850 or something like that. So he had more than enough money to go into the Deco. He's got the Deagle armor. The rest of his team just picking up pistols, didn't really feel like putting too much money into the round. And you can see the money from NRG has rebounded a little bit with the way the eco trades went. So now it is a little bit more of a rough situation for Luminosity. Potential opportunity for NRG to extend the lead to 3 rounds, put them at 4-1. Unless we see some sort of crazy eco round here from Luminosity. First one's going to go down. FNX tries to make his way out of Palace. Not going to happen. Justin's in position with the ump, and the ump says you're out. PTR back from ticket booth, checking the stubs and taking out heads. Oh, a great shot from Taco, peeking up with the deagle. and that is going to be a big kill on the round as Legia was trying to lock down CT. coldzera also doing work with the Deagle, the only one who picked up armor on the round, takes a lot of damage for the trouble. But this is actually boding at least a little bit good here for the guys on Luminosity. As you can see, there's only one player towards B, and that's Silent, and he's playing up aggressively, so he's not exactly in a terrible spot if they decided to go B, but he's all by himself, and it's going to kind of cause the CT side to juggle players. And you can see they're pushing PTR back towards window. They don't want to give themselves a 2-1 site. They want to kind of like split up and have a player mid who can float, but it's going to make things that much harder for them. And you can see Luminosity stacking up towards Palace with the one player on the A site pushing through A ramp. This might be a bomb plant, which at the very least would be a victory for Luminosity.
So now they're going to sneak their way into A, and actually NRG have given up control of it, but in just a moment, we are going to see Justin rounding back through the T ramp, and he could just absolutely shut these guys down. He's a little bit passive on it, just in case the T's move over there to investigate his position, but they're not going to find anything. The bomb just barely goes down.
Oh
Taco gets another Hwanding before he is executed by Justin, but ultimately, again, we will see the CTs taking this round, and they'll be bringing it up to 4-1 in their favor now.
Taco is coming off a really hot land at IEM, so I'm kind of thinking that he's like built up a lot of confidence, and now he's really feeling it. I mean, he's started out strong here. He played really well in the first match. Now he's sitting at the top frag position, 9-4, 3 times out of anyone else on his team. You can see Cold, Fallen both sitting at 3, Fur on 1, FNX still sitting on that goose egg, but it's still very early, so it's not necessarily the most important statistic to point out. But at the same point in time, the shots that Taco has been hitting have been massive. I mean, he had that 1-3K with the Tech 9 that gave them the only round they have on the board, and then he had 2 kills that round, which really gave them the bomb plant with the Deagle. And even though one came post plant, it still doesn't matter. The economic damage was dealt by Luminosity, and now they're moving into yet another buy here. So AK is on the board, but it's going to be one player out early. Fur taking a seat as Peter again with the op, showing his worth with that big green cannon. In this case, it has a beautiful little monster painted on it, so good for him. But even still, 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the round, and it is Luminosity who are feeling a little bit weaker.
Now with that mid control, Luminosity trying to find a way on one of the sites, and they're having trouble doing this. The pop flash rolls in through connector. The number 7 man, Cold, looking into options to get him into the A bomb site, and he's got to find one with a headshot to the face of Peter as he takes him down. And now, still not seeing the team move into it though. Legia moves in, finds a trade on a Cold, and the hesitance from Luminosity is going to cost them dearly here, as they're still basically sitting in those same positions and they haven't made a whole lot of progress. FNX is investigating himself, a spot on the B-bomb site, but he's shot pretty heavily by Silent. Good trade, though, but ultimately the CTs are still way in control of this situation, and now they just dropped the bomb on the floor, too. So FNX only 24 HP after his duel with Silent just a few moments ago. He's going to try to pull off a miracle here, but more than likely, NRG should just be able to close this out as soon as FNX wanders around the wrong corner.
Even if FNX gets at least one more kill, it's not good that they lost the round, but it will have been another round where they cost NRG a lot of money. They've come down to 2 players in round 5, 4, and 2. It was down to 1 player. Obviously, it was a victory in round 3, but they've been just chipping away at the cash on the CT side, never really letting them, find economic balance. So if the CTs lose a round, they could be staring down an eco. The fact that they survive with 3 players here is going to be huge because they'll be able to at least build up some money, but they're going to have to drop rifles. Like you can see PTR's on 3350. He can't buy up, so he's going to need a rifle. So somebody's going to have to drop a rifle rebuy, which is going to have kind of a long-term effect. And even Silent is sitting on fringe money, a little bit low, around 4450, I think it was. So even he could ask for a drop. I don't think he's going to do it this time around. I can't really tell how things went. I think he did get a drop, as you can see. Money kind of bouncing all over the place. Guns are juggling. But it's another eco here for Luminosity, and a very awkward one at that. FNX picks up the AK. 2 Tech 9s, 2 P250s, kind of showing you the versatility of all the guns on the T side. The first pick goes the way of FNX, peeking up from Catwalk. No mid presence at all, and Legia loses his life for it. Got B, tries to play back towards Cat Pillar. Not going to happen today. It's all going to come down to Silent in the back of sight, spotting heads as they come out of apartments. Takes down one, but he's got to be careful as Taco is moving in fast, and he has been so hard to deal with on this B site. It's actually going to be coldzera, though, moving in from Catwalk. And now LG has control of the bomb site with the volley. Just going to delay them a little bit longer.
Taco just literally dodged a first op shot, bunny hopped around 2 mollies that were thrown at him, and then dodged another op shot to get behind bench. The fact that he's still alive is so surprising right now. After all of that, of course, now FNX picking up a kill into Peter. Justin's going to be the last man left alive from NRG, and Luminosity will be stealing this round away and getting a whole load of guns for free as well. 3 of them being picked up, including an op now on Cold Zera that'll probably get thrown over to Fallen once the round resets.
And it all started with a mistake from NRG, not playing much of a presence on mid. I'm not sure what the call was. I didn't actually see how. I think it was FNX who got up catwalk very early in the round. I didn't see how he got there so quickly, but he basically just ran right up catwalk. There was no one in window, no one in connector. He gets the kill on the man cat, pushes up and catches Gob B, trying to play both spots. He's playing cat for the man pushing up, but he's also got players coming in from Palace, so he can't do anything about both of them. The only support is backed by bench. That was silent. The round basically falls apart, all because of that player who pushed mid. So one player changes the round, and it was FNX that time, not so much the player who's been doing it for the most of this first half, which would have been Taco. But you can see, there's the money. NRG's down on an eco already. You know, they win 3 rounds in a row. They pick up the first 2, but even still, the money has been so tight because of how many times they've had to rebuy. And it's an excellent opportunity for Luminosity to get themselves back into the game.
And it looks like they're going to make it through this round pretty nicely without too much conflict. Peter did find 1 trade on a Taco, but that's about it so far. As I say that, though, Cole gets a pot flash inside of the ladder, but it doesn't help him out so much, as Gabi has the angle lined up in advance. Quick enough of a trade, though, coming out from Fallen as soon as Gabi crosses outside of that ladder room. And now it's down to a 3 versus 1. Peter inside of the window room. He's going to get flanked almost. Gets that 180 kill on the Fur, but not going to find it this time. And the Luminosity do find a 3rd round pickup.
Fur might want to take his AK into the shop. I don't know what happened there. It looked like the first shot was on, and it just barely misses. And then he panic sprayed a little bit when Peter turned and actually hit him with a dink. So, unfortunately for Peter, if that's an AK, it's a kill. But because of the way the game works, it's an M4. So he's only going to get that 87-1 or 83-1, depending on how the damage pans out. NRG back into another bye here, but it's going to be a very weak one. Not necessarily a force, but they are very low on utility, and they don't have a single kit, so they're going to be playing a pre-plant round. They don't want to let the bomb go down. And you can see that with the way that Leggy is playing this wide peeking from jungle, and he spots 2 making their way up from ramp. Taco and FNX both gunned down in their prime. 1 trying to sneak up catwalk. Cold Zera not going to work that little trick play this time around. Leggy pop flashes his way through the smoke. He's now got Fur dead to rights on the site. Runs out of ammo. Fur somehow comes up with that kill. And he's got sight control, but the bomb is not exactly in the greatest spot given the eyes from catwalk. And Legia, that was huge.
He didn't get the ace, but 4 kills and the assist. If he had just not made that 1 mistake there at the end, running out of ammo, that would have been an absolutely incredible play. That final kill along with the assist that came after it, that was him jumping through the smoke. If the cameraman didn't catch that, I don't know if he saw it or not, but that was him jumping through the smoke over Sandwich, completely flanking Luminosity while literally being right next to them and shutting down the entire rest of the push. So amazing play from Legia, puts NRG right back into a winning situation for the time being. But Luminosity did get enough of a bank here to try and buy up 1 more time. A little bit limited on the utility for some of their players, but they still have enough to make a take attempt.
You know, that play, he had to force that fight. He didn't have an opportunity to reload because he knew that eventually Fur would turn around. I don't think the player who died default realized initially where he died from, but the call would have come out eventually. He's got to be like ticket booth or ramp, and he would have turned around because he didn't spot him anywhere else. A 4v3 very early on as Cold and FNX drop yet again. 2 players down early, and it's another solid start for NRG, who's found themselves in similar situations to this multiple times in a row now. But an even trade out as LG makes their way up from connector. Taco is going to spot the body. PTR peeking through the smoke just a little bit off the mark for CT spawn. Taco trying to respond with some AK shots into the smoke. Nothing's going to be there, though. It's going to come down to a 2v3 with Fallen very low on HP, just sitting on 4. Taco trying to creep into position, and a great shot onto Silent, but that isn't the op that he was probably hoping to find. Peter is still holding that one. Another good shot, but even better from Peter and Justin. They peek it simultaneously, and there's no way that he's going to make it out of that situation. NRG has now found 7 rounds, which is about 5 more than I probably expected them to get in the whole game based on the way the first map went.
2 hero plays in a row there. Last round from Legia, and Peter picking up a 3K on this round. So now they're both leading in frags right now, both sitting on a 10-7 record. Maybe a little bit better off with 3 assists, but still definitely being a big player so far from NRG to keep the lead going strong on this CT half. Still a very unstable economy, so 1 round being picked up by LG is immediately probably going to force these guys onto a pretty preservative round, if I do say so myself. And Luminosity are forcing up this time. 3 AKs, along with a Tech 9 and a Deagle sitting on Fur and FNX respectively. So still enough tools to make some kind of a ship work here, but now they need to actually get themselves onto his site and get the bomb down, which has been part of the trouble here. And whew, there's Peter going off again, finding Fur and Fallen back-to-back.
I mean, Peter just peeking through that smoke, doing what Peter does with the AWP, finds two and gives them a great start. It's come down to just Cold Zera and FNX, who really don't have much of an opportunity. Now just FNX with the Deagle making his way up from ramp. He's going to need a 1 Deagle onto Justin. It's not going to happen. NRG eSports now on 8 rounds compared to the 3 from Luminosity. And that's the Peter we saw at MLG Aspen a long time ago. Back when he played with CLG, there's that infamous, what was it, 1 HP 3K I think he had with the AWP on the B site that secured a 16-14 victory. And I think it was Envious at the time. I don't remember if it was Envious or Fnatic. I'm pretty sure it was Envious. It's like been a long time and you see so many matches, eventually they all blend together. But I mean, it was insane. It was one of those plays where you're like, wow, that's what he's capable of when he plays at his full level. And when you see Peter do stuff like that, you're like, okay, why did this guy mill around in Premier for a few seasons? Like, why wasn't he getting opportunities from Pro League teams? If he can get the consistency down, he could easily be a top contender with the AWP in North America.
LG tries straightforward play through the apartments this time, but Silent rips 3 of them to shreds before being traded out himself. Gob beat in a bit of a flank position. He can only find 1, though, and is going to get taken down by Fallen. He's trying to sneak himself onto this site now, but the bomb is pretty far out there, just outside of Market, so Fallen now has to play this a little bit more cautiously. He doesn't exactly know where the 3 remaining CTs are, but he's flanking around Legia right now. He's got a good position. He's going to wait and see if anybody comes outside, but Legia still has no clue that Fallen's here. Fallen has full control of the situation right now. This is so brilliant if this works, but Legia, he has to turn around at some point and check this. And Fallen's still just trying to make sure. Look at this.
How is this happening?
No, he's hoping so hard somebody comes out of that Market door right now, but Justin's sitting there. It doesn't look like Justin's going to be moving anytime soon. Fallen has to go for this. He might even try to sneak past. No. How is Legia never turned in that entire time? All right, well, Fallen finally got impatient and went for the kill on Legia, and that's a good thing, too, because it didn't look like anybody from NRG was going to move outside of Market. Nonetheless, though, Peter is waiting with the AWP inside of the Market window, and he will be able to shut that down before it goes any further. But a good play from Fallen to pick up at least that kill onto Legia.
I thought for a second he was just going to sneak past him and go towards the window. You know, he's hoping that Legia just continues with that, like, stoic hold where he just doesn't move. It's like a painting. He was just holding still for so long. And he probably could have gotten towards window, but the reality is he's still in a situation where he's only going to get 1 before he gets probably taken down. But I just love how long that played out. If they were up 9-3 instead of down 9-3, that would have been one of those opportunities where, like, Fallen can come in with a knife or jump on his head and, like, get goofy and have some fun. But instead, we see the very careful, patient play from Fallen. It just doesn't translate into a round victory. But a solid start here for Luminosity in round number 13. Legia already cleaned off the board, but it's PTR to respond again with the AWP. He's been so dynamic with the AWP throughout the majority of this first half. He's top fragging for the team right now at 14-7. And he's just been a nuisance. There really hasn't been an answer from Luminosity. They don't know how to deal with Peter right now. He's not playing that stereotypical mid play. He's kind of floating between A and connector. Sometimes he decides to peek mid, but usually later in the round, hoping to spot someone still lingering. It's been a big piece of the reasons, or a big part of the reason why NRG has been able to get rounds. But as I say that, the boost into window works out wonderfully. And now NRG is in a 2v4 with a lot of damage dealt to the last 2 players, Silent and Gabi. So it's basically a round here for Luminosity, but NRG's going to feel okay giving them this one. They're off to a great start here. It'll be a 9-4 scoreline after this bomb explodes.
Slow and steady will win the race in this round, of course, with Luminosity just slowly inching their way onto that A-bomb site. It happens quickly enough, however, that the guys on NRG, with them being so lit up right now, the total combined HP now of 28 sitting on Gob and Silent. Not really a whole lot that they're going to be able to do, so just posting up and alternate angles and trying to see if they can survive and take these guns into the next round, because there is still that issue of the economy that we've been mentioning here and there for the CT side. They've never really just been outright winning these rounds, so they haven't built up an amazing bank, and now with the death of Gob B, it has basically killed any chance of a force buy in the next round. So Silent going down would not be the worst thing in the world, since that's going to be the only big rifle that they would carry over into that round anyway, unless they're absolutely daft, because that would be a crazy force buy, but he's going to be able to survive. So they'll have at least that. Maybe can find a trade or 2 with it, but I highly doubt we'll be seeing a force buy from the other players, even though Justin's sitting at 5.8.
Yeah, if they were going to do anything, it would be like a split. Man, they just totally proved you wrong there. They do end up deciding to go with the split. They're going to go pistol armor on 2 players? No, they actually got way more out of this than I expected them to. So they're going to be able to get a FAMAS and M4 on Justin and Silent and the AWP. The only one with the pistol armor is Gabi. They're stretching that dollar out as much as they can. Smokes up mid is going to allow Cold to get all the way up cap, but backpedals quickly as the flashes rain in on top of his head. Peter, he puts the AWP in ladder room this time. Looking to spot a player towards chair mid, but it's actually going to be Taco who gets the opener for the T side. That's over on A. Fur in mid, spotting Peter, and down goes the AWP. The problem that has been such a nuisance for the side of Luminosity, the thorn in their side, Peter's AWP. And it's all come down to Legia. This round works out beautifully for Luminosity, where they were struggling to put rounds on the board earlier. It seems like they just kind of went in with their eyes closed that round and were like, we're just going to do this. And it works out beautifully for them. And as a result, it pushes NRG to an eco round, and Luminosity is actually staring down the barrel of a 9-6 half.
And Luminosity should have a pretty big advantage in this final round. Taking a look at the buy from NRG, not going to be the best in the world. 2 Deagles sitting on Legia and Justin, but beyond that, it's 5 7s, and also very, very lackluster amount of utility. They're going to try to get aggressive this time. Peter specifically pushing himself up the stairs through underpass, but I believe either he flashed himself or both people threw a flash at once, and it looks like this round, including a nice shot from Fallen on a Silent, is going to be a complete wipe for the CTs. Luminosity already in full control, possibly looking at a team ace as well, and that's what it's going to be. Taco leaping out of the palace, finds the final kill on the Gabi, and Luminosity do bounce back a little bit towards the end of it, 6-9, a very respectable scoreline for the T side. And now jumping onto the CT side, if things start off well, should be able to bounce this back pretty quickly.
Yeah, if they prevent the plant, they could easily get, if they pick up pistol and prevent a bomb plant, they're looking at probably a 9-9. They won't have to worry about the 3rd round force buy from NRG. If they prevent the plant, NRG might go with the Tech 9 armor buy in the 2nd round, probably going to be a B play. One of the things I've always been a little bit annoyed with when it comes to North American CS teams is the tendency to go A lot. They don't necessarily have strategies for B. I'm hoping that's not the case here. Gabi, obviously former in-game leader for Mousesports, a team who once upon a time was one of the best Mirage teams in the world, in my opinion. They had some of the most dynamic strategies. They've infamized multiple strats in my mind. I always have associated them with Mousesports, and even though it was before his time as the in-game leader, back when it was, I think, Alu and Chris J, when I really saw them play Mirage to their best, it's still something that sticks in my mind. It's just gonna be there forever. So if Gabi brings that to the table here, NRG might have a chance to pick up a few rounds, especially with getting the pistol. But if Luminosity picks up the pistol round here, I expect rounds to just start piling on. I kind of think this is going to go the way their CT side did on Inferno, where they just got round after round after round.
And now we're just waiting for the teams to ready up, and we will be jumping back into the match, guys. Luminosity still down at 6-9, of course, but keeping their performance after things started off a little bit rough. They did manage to sort of get a better grasp on the situation and bounce it back quite nicely towards the end, where as the NRG guys, because of the fact that they were working with such a loose economy for the majority of that half, it was really dependent on them actually winning the rounds. And a couple slip-ups on the individual side of things for NRG did allow that scale to sort of tip towards Luminosity as we got towards the end of it there. So a really solid bounce back on NRG to take a huge lead that they looked like they may have been able to start off with. And now jumping onto the T side, as you were mentioning before, that's where things could prove to be a little bit tough for NRG, especially when it comes to the individual fragging power, which was lacking severely on that last map.
So it really does just come down to pistol. I mean, anytime you have a 9-6 scoreline, it doesn't really favor anyone, so to speak. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on both teams to pick up the pistol. The team with 9 realizes if they lose it, it's a tie. The team with 6 realizes if they win it, it's a tie. You know, there's like that juggling going on. They want the pistol round. If you get it as the team with 9, you know, you're doubling up your opponent at 12-6 if you chain together the anti-ecos. So there really does come down to this pistol round. Pistol rounds are always so important, but the second half pistol round is always, there's always so much pressure on the players. And if you saw the way that Luminosity played the pistol round on Inferno, they were coming in from, you know, no play against NRG. They were coming in a little bit cold. And I mean cold in the sense that they hadn't actually played against NRG yet, so they didn't necessarily have a full feel for what they were going to bring to the table. And they went full aggressive on B, and they slaughtered them. I don't know if we're going to see that same style of play from Luminosity, especially given that it is a 9-6. And that actually might work out for NRG. NRG might be able to play the slow play that they didn't get an opportunity to play in the first pistol round on Inferno, And I don't know, there's a lot of question marks right now for me and NRG. I know a lot about Luminosity and the way they're probably going to play this, but NRG is still a bit of a question mark when it comes to this map.
So I think we're waiting on Silent. He seems to be the only one that's AFK right now. Oh, he's back now. So I think everybody should be good, and that means we should get started with it. We do apologize for the delay, guys. It is the players, I believe, not us. Don't blame us.
It's all you. Don't lie.
Yes, it's my fault.
We had to hold, so Blue could do something. I don't know.
I have a magic button that starts the second half, and I just I haven't pressed it yet. Being mean, making you talk way more.
You want me to lose my voice by the time we hit the fourth match of the night.
But, I mean, still, regardless of the way that the second half turns out, this has been actually a pretty nice resurgence, I guess you could call it, from NRG, based on the very pitiful performance we saw back on Inferno. It looked like it was going to be an absolute slaughter coming into this one, and they've actually made this quite respectable in the first half. We're actually looking to completely flip around and dominate things at the beginning of it, but did lose some of their spunk as we got towards the last couple of rounds there. So now is the big question, though, is are they going to be able to carry this over onto the T side, or are things going to start to fall flat a little bit strategically and individually? They do go for a raid boss buy on a Silent, and it looks like they're going to move 3 players over here towards the B bomb site, slowing it down quite a bit, as they do have 2 also leaning towards A to possibly start a fake hit, but they're going to get pressured, so they're going to find out about it pretty quickly.
Oh, good lord. Cold peeking in from apartments, pops the head of Silent like a gusher. And that's a solid start for LG, but an equal response coming in from NRG as Fur is taken out. And he is statistically one of the top fraggers for the team, but right now he's struggling, sitting at 8 and 12. A duel going on in mid, but more of a 2v1 right now with Gabi stuck behind mid box. Taco popping shots in his direction, but not able to find the headshot just yet. It's going to be Cold in B apartments to get another one. There you go. Taco finally able to take down Gabi in mid, and they've basically flattened this round here for NRG. It comes down to just 2. Peter and Justin both coming in from T-spawn towards TV room. There's 2 players in this position. Cold, who's obviously feeling pretty good as of right now with the pistol in his hand. The P2K has been solid. Taco, though, coming up from mid, gets 1 more. He's going to find that last player, going to go for the pop flash, and it's going to be Peter looking to try and salvage the round, but there's no way it's going to happen. Luminosity pick up the pistol and an opportunity to propel themselves forward into a 9-9.
So NRG coming off of, or apologies, with Luminosity coming off of their victory there in the previous round. We'll see the usual investment coming in from them, actually carrying over a couple of guns that the T's did end up dropping too, but still going to invest on top of that. And more interestingly, though, FNX buying up the auto shotgun. So I imagine there might be a bit of an aggressive push from him this round. It looks like that's going to be the case. Moving up over here towards the T ramp, but NRG are good in holding themselves back a little bit. If he goes any further than this, he's probably going to end up being a dead man, as that's not going to be the optimal range to work the shotgun. And more than likely, it looks like he's just going to be hanging out here, waiting to see if NRG will push through, and he can pop a couple heads up before he's inevitably traded.
I mean, it is the pistol armor buy from NRG, which is kind of to be expected. FNX goes with the gamble here, hoping to get some extra money by going with the auto shotgun, pushing up towards ramp. He's just playing this, waiting for them to push. If they don't peek this, he could get 1 or 2, but I imagine there's very limited scenarios in which he makes out of this one alive. Smoke's going to rain out towards Palace, flashes to follow. And there you go, the first kill coming over towards ramp. Fur is basically baiting them into the trap here, and FNX is finally going to get his chance to strike with that auto shotgun and ramp. Cold Zera about to be peeked by Legia, the last man for the T side of NRG, but not a kill on the board for NRG here in their eco. Actually, it was a force buy, so that's devastating. They wanted to take at least some money out of the pockets of Luminosity, but it's not going to happen this round.
And no plan either, so this one's going to be a very restrictive round in terms of what NRG bring to the table. A good setup from Luminosity and pretty much just textbook execution of it there. Not any trouble whatsoever in shutting down the push from NRG and basically wasting that second round investment from the T's. So this time, pretty much as we were saying before, only P250s and a single smoke on Gob B, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty direct play to try and force themselves into the B bomb sites. They can at least have 1 plant heading into that first gun round. Without it, might be looking at some limited buys on quite a few of these players. They do have to hold it back a little bit, of course, because of the utility thrown out from the CTs, but you can already see from the way they're formulating themselves that this is just going to be an all-in attempt to get a plant.
That double nade from Luminosity, had it been a little bit later, would have worked out perfectly. You can see NRG is stacked up in apartments right now, waiting to push into the site and go for that waterfall strategy. They do have a smoke from Gabi. He's probably going to toss that towards... Oh no, he's actually got this lined up to go towards somewhere else. I thought he was going to toss it out the window or down towards the end of balcony just to allow them to jump out window. But the big player is going to be Taco. He's waiting with this pop flash in hand. He does have Cold Zera jiggle peeking to just give him the timing info, and Cold is just waiting. They have this kind of sniffed out. They haven't heard a footstep towards A yet. They spot one player in mid, and there you go. The execution's going to start. Taco with the pop flash, and it is a slaughter in B. Only one player makes it out of apartments. That was Silent, and Silent goes down to Taco. It was exactly as we expected it to play out. Luminosity pick up their 9th round, and they have so much money to work with coming into this first buy.
Bit of a misnomer there too. If Silent had picked up on the fact that Taco was still sitting in that position, that they double stacked it outside of the apartments, he might have been able to find that kill, because it was a bit of a slow reaction from Taco. However, he didn't catch on to it, and because of that, Taco got a free kill to the back in order to stop the B hit from happening, and no plants will end up happening this time around. So NRG, interestingly enough, are not going to go for the buy here. They're actually going to pass it back one more round, and they're just going to invest into some upgraded pistols this time, same as basically on that second round.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting here. They're foregoing the stereotypical buy.
It makes sense, though, because of the fact that they didn't get any plants, and because of how heavily they force fight in the second round, or force blot in the second round, they would have been working with a severely limited utility set in this round if they had gone for actual rifles. So it's not too bad of a decision.
Yeah, and you know, LG bought up thinking this was going to be a buy here. So you can see Cold's actually going to get caught out over towards B with the AWP. They didn't expect that, and now it's found its way into the hands of Peter, and he's going to do what he did in the first half, and that's just taking people out of the round. It's come down to 2 players up for LG, but Fur going to blindside Peter. He wasn't really looking towards the door. So it's a 2v2, but a great shot from Silent is going to put it back to a 2v1. FNX to respond, and the last man is on catwalk. Bomb is not planted for him. Gabi trying to get in position, but FNX is going to stick it. And it's a round for LG, but even still, look how expensive that round was for Luminosity, losing all of those guns that they just bought. They didn't buy up until that round. They had been sitting on shotguns and SMGs until that period, trying to build up money. So the way that NRG just played that, they actually kind of canceled out all of the things that happened in the rounds prior.
Now NRG, of course, without basically really any big investment coming on the last round and getting a plant this time around, they're going to have an absolutely beautiful buy. Take a look at it. All AKs, they get the AWP on Peter. Not only does Peter have the AWP, but he's got his pistol, full head armor, and a full utility kit to work with as well. So this is where that save comes into play, because they did a good amount of damage. They did surprise LG with that a little bit, because that's a very uncommon thing to do, but it made sense. And now they're going to try to work this gun around. Unfortunately, it's not going to start off very well. Taco getting a little bit aggressive outside of the ladder room there. Finds a pickup on a Gob B, and we'll slow down this mid hit quite a bit.
Yeah, a win here means they can upset the apple cart for LG's economy. They could push them back to an eco. It'd be a tie score. And then they could have an opportunity to steal the lead back. But it doesn't look like it's happening thus far, as LG is kind of picking them apart. Fur is going to find one. Taco already picked off another. Another kill for Fur as he peeks towards ramp. Justin just kind of gets caught off guard. And so quickly, this has fallen into a 2v5 right now. Silent and Peter, the last one standing. The AWP and the AK trying to make their way out of mid. But LG playing a little bit more passively on mid. They've got Taco up in the ladder room, and then towards connector, it's going to be FNX, basically giving them mid, but not letting them do anything with it, which is a great way to play given the scenario.
And now the peek rolls out from FNX, pretty much killing Peter, and there we go. Peter with a re-peek, unfortunately gives his own life away at the end of the day, and now it's just Silent, and he's slowly being placed inside of a box here, with Fur wrapping around from the T-spawn. He's going to catch him as he's looking the other direction. We'll take him down. No losses from Luminosity at all, so they're already off to a better start here. As we finally get past the first gun round, they're going to be able to build their economy up, whereas the guys on NRG, because of this very, very preservative triple save they did earlier on, they are going to be able to invest one more time, but they're basically on the usual path now, and the problem is they did not find the round they were looking for, so now Luminosity have the lead. Whereas previously, I don't think they were expecting that to happen. I think they were expecting to try and tie it up back at 10 rounds again, and they failed in doing this, so now they give Luminosity a little bit of a head start here. However, in this round, they get the head start, with Peter finding a shot in the Fallen and him kind of being overwhelmed there in window room.
I mean, prior to the eco round that came in where they managed to get the bomb down, this is kind of how we expected things to go. We expected Luminosity to kind of bounce back from what was a little bit of a tumultuous T side. And they have managed to pick up 5 in a row now, putting NRG onto a full loss. A great shot from Cold. Actually, I think he spotted the shoulder of another player coming around from catwalk, hence why he is backpedaling so quickly into market. And he's made the call to the man in window, but FNX not in position in time. Going to get gunned down by Legia. They're going to send one up into the window. That's going to be Gob B. Actually, he's up in ladder room right now. The other two back towards mid. Bomb controlled by the CT side. And they don't even realize that Taco is in this position. How many times have we seen this happen right now where LG just gets into these sneaky positions, playing a little bit aggressive, a little fast and loose, and it ends up being rewarding for them, and NRG just has no idea that it's happening.
Unfortunately for NRG now, we're not going to see a very big investment at all. Taking a look at it again, they're really not floating on a very big stack of cash, so they've got to take this round as a light one again. Just investing into P250s for those that had a little bit of extra money. They are going to buy up armor behind the $500 pistols, but most are not really going to be able to do that here. And NRG are just going to round themselves out around the 2K margins that they can save up and go for a buy on the next round here. They have not picked up a single round at all in this half. They're on full losing bonus. They've been on it now for a couple of rounds, but still no impact. And Luminosity is on a hot streak now, 6 rounds in a row. And they have yet to have failed to hold on to these bomb sites here. At NRG, only one single plant happening, and that was on that triple save they went for previously.
Look at the fake coming out here from NRG as they try to fake towards B. It looked like Luminosity went for it initially as they rotated one in towards connector, but that's all that happened. The rest of the players stay in their position. Ooh, Cold Zera's going to go down in window. Went for the jump peek with the AWP, but they're not going to be able to get into position to pick that gun up. Working up catwalk, it's going to be Silent and one more. I believe that is Gabi with a CZ75, and oh, see you later, Taco. Great shooting from Gabi. He's going to spot another as well. But it's all on Gabi by his lonesome here. He's going to get an M4 and mark it, but the bomb is down all the way towards A ramp. He's got plenty of time to work with, but he's going right through the murder hole. And despite the fact that he strafe jumped that beautifully, Fallen is on the other side waiting, and it's the 13th round for Luminosity.
And now NRG, again, still not making a big impact there. They have managed to bring Luminosity's own economy down to a point where they can control this a little bit here, but Luminosity are still completely outclassing them when it comes to their movement, their positioning overall, and NRG just can't seem to find a strat that works here and actually takes them to the very end of the round. Now this time, again, going for mid control, but we've already seen this. They've gotten an edge on this before, but it's been when they've tried to transfer this to the site where it's failed numerous times in a row, and they're going to completely shy away from window room control. Nobody on the CT side moving it from there. Mainly they're just focusing on holding these guys back from transferring this into one of the sites, which has been the pressure point before that LG has just been dominating at round after round. So NRG will get mid control for free, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything as of yet.
What's really interesting is this strategy is what started the comeback on their T side for Luminosity. There was a passive mid play for NRG. They didn't play window or connector that round, and they just exploited that and came up mid and caught the guy catwalk snoozing. And that was how the round opened up, and then things just sort of spiraled out of control, and Luminosity found 6 rounds instead of it being a much more horrifying scoreline given the matchup. No kills going either way just yet. Damage dealt to Silent, but there you go. The first one coming in from Leggy as he makes his way into connector. He's going to spot the head of Fur. And there's still one on the A side. It's FNX. He's in a very vulnerable position. Should Legia decide to come up from connector and peek towards his direction, he decides to calmly climb down the ladder. 2 players trying to get some info on the A site. Fallen has rotated in towards Ticket Booth. A passive play from Cold on window, just watching that murder hole yet again. Taco, the only man on B, playing by himself, but Cold is in a really great position where he can kind of flex towards the B site. He's got to find the shot, and it's going to be easy as Gabi stops dead in his tracks to peek that spot. FNX hears a few footsteps in towards Palace. He's going to make the call. Fallen is just lighting up the T side, and it's come down to Peter, and he may have had a very solid first half, but it's very unlikely he makes it out of this situation alive. Just too many angles to peek. And even though NRG put so much money into that round, it's another one on the board for Luminosity.
It seems to me like one of the biggest problems that happen for NRG is they're great at setting themselves up for a good take, but the problem is once they're actually put under pressure, they freeze up so often, and they fail to react when they're taken down. So we're almost never really seeing consistent trading coming on for NRG. As soon as LG reveals themselves, they often just dominate the playing field on this CT side here. We've almost, I think it's been like the past 3 rounds now where Legia has done a great job of finding a first kill, always playing the forward position and trying to pick up at least one of the players on Luminosity. So they get the advantage so often, but when they go for a site execute, they'll lose 1 or 2 guys on the entry, and then we just never see it traded out because everybody else on the team is holding back. It's like they're almost going out 1 by 1, and they're just such easy kills for Luminosity to pick up. They are never really pressured to hold on to the site. So this round again, NRG's going to run out of cash. They will invest themselves up with some upgraded pistols, a couple players buying up armor behind it, but Luminosity definitely has the advantage here once again.
Something that you see Luminosity do a lot too when they feel confident is they start getting really aggressive on their CT side, and it's usually how they punish teams very early on. They weaken the takes because they take a lot of the nades out of your hand that you intended to use for the take, and they make it a little more one-dimensional. That's kind of what happened here is they went for an aggressive push on mid, but it didn't really make anything happen in the round. It's the B hole that's much to be praised here by Luminosity as they find themselves with 4 players up. They slaughter NRG trying to make their way out of apartments, only dropping 1 player on the round. And it's been Taco, again, who's had this impressive performance. Taco, we talked about it before, a player who came onto this team with much scrutiny, has now absolutely proven himself, sitting at 29-12, and he's single-handedly picked apart the side of NRG. So NRG, one more bye, potentially, if this ends up being the final round. The economic situation not necessarily going to matter, but if they win this and lose a few guns, they could easily lose the next one. Dropping that loss bonus would be devastating.
So Peter tries to get himself a shot initially by pushing quickly inside of the apartments. Small duel with Taco, but he is pushed back due to a molly and dropped down to 66 HP. Not the best start for him. They get mid-control again for free. However, with no one inside of the palace, FNX decided to get aggressive this round. Pushed out, found a kill on the Justin. Cold's also going to win a duel versus GotB, as I believe he tries to push himself out over here onto the catwalk. And there's, again, that's what I was talking about. This one-by-one pushing power that we're seeing from NRG. Literally walks into the same spot where his teammate just died, not using any utility or whatnot to try and clear it out. So it's an easy second frag for him to grab. And of course, we'll see Taco just going inside, cleaning up the final two. That's going to be the way that it ends. 16 rounds being put onto the board here for Luminosity, and they're going to go 2-0 for the evening. I think that now puts their record up to 7-1, putting them, that should actually put them number 1 in the league, if I'm correct, but I'll have to double check that.
Yeah, that puts them into first place, just above Optic, who's sitting at 6-0 right now. I mean, it was... Go ahead.
No. I was going to close it, so if you have more to add, feel free to talk.
I mean, that's kind of what we expected to happen from Luminosity. We really didn't think that NRG was going to win this one. When they came out onto their CT side, they actually really surprised us with their initial play, but it ultimately fell apart. Eventually, Luminosity found the weakness and started to exploit it, and really it seemed like the weakness was mid-control. A few rounds, Peter lit things up in mid. There was that one round where he had the one-way smoke and connector, and he was able to spot 2 players trying to make their way into that direction. But for the most part, once they switched to the CT side, Luminosity just blew them apart. I mean, there was no way that NRG could find an opening. I didn't get a chance to see. I don't remember how many bomb plants they got on the T side, but it wasn't many, maybe 1 or 2 throughout that entire stretch of that comeback. I mean, it was down 9-6 at half, so they won 10 rounds straight with maybe 2 bomb plants.
Same problem that we saw back on Inferno, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. They just could not get into the site. They couldn't get past the raw fragging power of Luminosity.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to close out this first match here. NRG are not done just as of yet, as now they have to take on Complexity. So stick around, and that match should be coming up here in about 15 minutes. We're back with more of the ESL Pro League for North America in just a few minutes, so stick around.